Hello, everybody. Welcome back to B&B's Football Happy Hour. We are back. We are bearded. We are beautiful. I am Bobby, as always, joined with my man, Brian.
What's going on? Glad to be back for, what's this, episode 34 now. So I think we had a pretty good week. This week was pretty interesting. I think some things are starting to shape together, I think, for the playoffs here a little bit. So I'm sure we'll touch on each game.
Big time. Yep. As always, beats are provided by Dunson. And now we are brought to you by Diaper Dust. If you have a kid in diapers or know someone who does, y'all need this product. It is wonderful, saves everybody the agony of having to smell those nasty, dirty diapers just sitting around in a trash can or a genie that doesn't work. You don't have to buy all kinds of bags anymore. Just take the Diaper Dust, sprinkle it in the diaper, and that's it. Toss it in the trash can, any trash can you want. And thediaperdust.com. Again, that's thediaperdust.com. It's on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. So check it out.
Check it out and get them for those up-and-coming parents and those ones that have little kids in diapers, and give it to your significant other as a stocking stuffer or something. I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
You got it. Now, Brian, before we break down these games, I have a little guess who I want to play with you. I'm bringing this game back.
All right. I know we did it. I don't know. I'll go like over a month ago, but all right, let's go.
Yep. I just got one person here, but this kind of popped off the page at me when I was doing a little research for the show. So,
all right.
Over the last 4 weeks, this person is second in the league in passing touchdowns with 14, and they've only thrown 2 interceptions in that time. This person is fifth in passing yards and fifth in fantasy points at his position. And I'll give you another hint. He plays for a borderline playoff team. Currently, they are in the playoffs. I got one more hint for you if you want it.
Borderline playoff team. Well, I had a guess, but they're not a borderline playoff team, so it can't be.
Who was the guess?
I mean, I was going to say Stafford, but I don't know if the Lions are really considered a borderline playoff team.
Well, you got the division right. It is or the conference right. It is the NFC.
So NFC team, borderline, passing touchdowns, 14. Kirk Cousins.
That is exactly who it is. Good work, my friend. Ding, 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 ding. Lights.
The borderline playoff team kicked in because I've been saying for a couple of weeks I think they're going to make the playoffs, and I know Kirk's been doing all right lately. So
yeah, and you actually did get. I said you got the division right. I meant to say conference, but it's the right.
Oh yeah, all right. I didn't even catch that. I was just thinking NFC. I thought you said conference. So
nice. Well, that was very well done, my friend. And I'm going to rattle off a list of names here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jarrett Stidham, Alfred Morris, Jeremy McNichols, Ty Johnson, Quintez Cephas, Greg Ward, Gunnar Olszewski, Isaiah McKenzie, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Cameron Bateson, Dan Arnold, McCole Pruitt, Dawson Knox, Cole Kmet, and offensive lineman Kendall Lamb. Now, every week in the NFL, some random guys score touchdowns. But all of those dudes score touchdowns this week. Those are guys you've either never heard of or heard of a long time ago and shouldn't be hearing of anymore. I mean, that's like 15 dudes there that are scored a touchdown this week that helped absolutely not one single soul in fantasy.
I was going to say, yeah, some of those names, you kind of lost me with a few of them, and then at some I'm definitely, they're not guys you're playing on your fantasy teams, but yeah, that's
although
nice.
There's one that might be playable for the next week or two. It's a gamble considering it's playoff time, but we'll get to that whenever we talk about the Chicago Bears.
That's quite the group right there. So
tell me about it. All right, let's start with the Saints and the Falcons. The Saints win this one 21-16. Taysom Hill, 232 and 2 touchdowns. He has such a great rushing floor here with 83 rushing yards on 14 carries. Alvin Kamara showed up, 88 yards rushing and a touchdown, but only 2 for 9 in the receiving game. And when he was with Breeze, he was averaging about 9 targets a game with him, and he's only getting 2 or 3 targets with Taysom Hill. So that is really hurting his value. And he was on pace. If you remember, we talked a few weeks ago, Kamara was on pace to shatter Christian McCaffrey's single-season record for running back receptions. That is not going to happen with Taysom Hill at the helm. Lat Murray, only 5 carries for 17 yards after blowing up last week when I was going against him in fantasy. So thanks for that. Michael Thomas has got a 50% target share from Taysom Hill. So he goes 9 for 105. Traquan Smith and Jared Cook caught the touchdowns. Now for the Falcons, Matt Ryan, 273-1. You really wanted more than that from him, but the Saints defense is pretty good. All 3 running backs, Todd Gurley, Ito Smith, and Brian Hill, only had between 5 and 8 carries each. That is not a 3-headed monster you want to be a part of, especially if you've got Todd Gurley owners now in the playoffs. He is unstartable, I think. I would be very worried if he was in my starting lineup. Calvin Ridley led the way in yards, going 5 for 108. Julio Jones grabbed 9 balls for 94 yards. Russell Gage got a touchdown. And Hayden Hurst, 1 catch, 9 yards. In week 6 through 9, Hayden Hurst scored double digits each week. Their bye week was week 10, and he's won 0, 8.8, and 1.9 points since then. Yikes.
Yeah, I think I had him after the bye with that 0, and then that was it for me. So I don't care what he does for the rest of the year. I'm over him. I can't get that guy right.
I don't think anyone in Fantasyland has picked up and dropped Hayden Hurst as much as you have.
No, I picked him up a few times. I mean, I started him after the bye because he was being productive, and then threw me the big 0. So I'm over him. I don't care. I'll start whoever the Jets are going to roll out there at tight end. I'd rather have them than Hayden Hurst. But man, like you said, this game to me, I mean, it was a pretty close game. I mean, Taysom Hill, I thought actually looked like an NFL quarterback in this game. I mean, he threw
definitely his best game all around.
Yeah, I mean, 27 out of 37 for 232, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty. Our boy Carson Wentz can't even do that. So this guy's a glorified tight end. And I think he surpassed Cam Newton, I think, in passing touchdowns in one game. So with 2. But, man, like you said, yeah, I mean, Michael Thomas had a big game. And then the Falcons, man, I'm just kind of – I don't know. They're just – you're down. I'm down on Gurley. He hasn't been doing much. And, Ito Smith, like you said, didn't do much either. Julio to me is a guy that you can play. Hayden Hurst, like you said, you can't play him. I don't know, man. Like you said, just the Saints. To me, the defense is winning them games because that defense has been killing it the last like 5 or 6 weeks. And now they're going to roll out there. I think. Well, yeah, they're playing the Eagles this week, so they're going to be playing against a rookie quarterback. So I mean, those stats are only going to go up, I'm sure. So, man, this was another good win for the Saints, I guess. I mean, win's a win. And
number 1 seed in the NFC, right?
Yeah, they're the number 1 seed now. And then I looked it up. They said they're 8-0, or they're 8-0, I guess, without Drew Brees the last 2 years. Or I think they're 8-0, 8 or 9-0. I don't know, something
impressive.
Like that. But, yeah, I don't know. Somehow they got these guys that back up. So, I mean, Sean Payton, good coach.
Coaching.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Payton can kind of just put anybody in there. I mean, Bridgewater last year, I think, was 5-0, right? And then I guess Taysom Hill is 3-0. So, I mean, they just find ways to win. Good coaching and, that defense, which isn't really something that people think of, I guess, in years past when you think of the Saints about their defense. And they got it figured out this year.
Yeah, and this next game was surprisingly close. The Jaguars narrowly losing to the Vikings 24-27. This game went into overtime. And I hope people have been at least a little bit impressed with Mike Glennon. And, from a fantasy perspective, maybe not from a real life football perspective, but over the last 4 weeks, Mike Glennon has averaged more points per game, 16, than Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, Matt Ryan, and Carson Wentz. Now, I know those aren't the murderer's row of quarterbacks, but there's still some pretty big names and people you start at least, on occasion in fantasy. Nobody's starting Mike Glennon, but he's making his case that maybe you can. And, again, it's Mike Glennon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as the Jags are concerned, I keep rolling with Glennon because he's doing just well enough to keep games close while still continuing to fight the Jets for the number 1 overall pick. So that's good for everyone involved there. He went 280, a touchdown, and 2 picks. James Robinson got his normal 78 yards and a touchdown plus 6 catches for 30. Colin Johnson seems to be Mike Glennon's go-to guy, big, tall rookie receiver from Texas we talked about last week. He was 4 for 66 against the Vikings. DJ Chark disappoints yet again, 2 for 41, and Laviska Shenault goes 3 for 38 and a touchdown, also 30 yards rushing. And Chark is maddening because his ceiling is so high and he can blow up, blow up 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, something like that at any given time. But, man, his floor is just as low as his ceiling is. Now, for the Vikings, they ran 85 offensive plays. That is a ton. Kirk Cousins, 305 yards passing, 3 touchdowns and a pick. We talked about how good he's been playing over the last few weeks. Dalvin Cook, 32 carries, 120 yards, and 6 catches for 59. I mean, he had a slow start to the game, but really picked it up. And I thought they might pump the brakes with him. He's a little banged up, but apparently not. Justin Jefferson, who we could not love enough or talk about enough, 9 catches, 121 yards, and a TD. Adam Thielen, 8 for 75 and a touch. CJ Ham also got that 3rd touchdown. Kyle Rudolph, a big goose egg after having 7 catches for 68 yards on 8 targets last week. Got you a 0 this week. Thanks a lot, Kyle.
Yeah, another tight end you can be disappointed in. But, yeah, like we talked about earlier, I mean, you're saying, the Vikings are a borderline playoff team, and this is obviously a game that they have to win. I mean, you have to be able to beat the Jags. They made it a lot harder than probably what it should have been, but they found a way to win. And like you said, Cook, 32 carries for $120. It's not the best yards per carry there. On 32 carries, but he did his thing, and he gets it done. And I think he did a lot more in the passing game this week. 6 for 59 that's going to get you an extra 12 points right there. So you'll take that all day. And we can't talk enough about Jefferson. This kid every week. I think this was a big week for Jefferson because I think with the way Herbert played this week, our boy Herbert, I think he narrowed that gap, I think, for the Rookie of the Year. He's not winning it right now, but shoot, it's closer than it's ever been, I think, at this point right now, because Herbert didn't do a whole lot. I know we'll touch on that game in a little bit, but he keeps having these 100-yard games and he catches touchdowns like every week. So I don't know. And their team's winning, and then they're on the playoff border there. So
if he doesn't play another snap, he may have more receiving yards than Adam Thielen does on the year, because he's already like 300 receiving yards more than Adam Thielen is. Now, I know Thielen missed a game, but that's significant. Now, Thielen's got more touchdowns because they throw the ball to him every play in the red zone, but Jefferson is so impressive.
Yeah, he's a stud. And like you said, the Jags, not much to say. I'm impressed with James Robinson. He's probably the only guy you're going to roll out there, I guess, from the Jags. Chark is just kind of disappointing to me. Like you said, this kid's got a ton of talent, and it's just tough, I guess. Maybe if they get Trevor Lawrence, maybe he'll have a bounce back year next year, or Fields, maybe, I guess. One of those guys.
The Jets are not going to allow that to happen. I cannot wait to talk about that game.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess after this week, if they can't lose that game, then they're probably going to not win a game all year. But, yeah, even if they were to get, I guess, Fields from Ohio State, Chark might have a bounce back year. But, just like you said, I think they're just happy with keeping games close and making it look like they're not trying to tank and just losing these close games. And, seeing what some of these young guys have, like Robinson, obviously, and Colin Johnson's been picking it up over the past couple of weeks. So he'll be another young guy that they'll roll out there next year and, only progress. So I don't know, man. But this is a game I think the Vikings had to win because they have a few tough games coming up. I know they play at the Bucks this week, so that'll be a tough one for them. So we'll see.
I'll lay off Kirk Cousins that week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in that game. But, yeah, this is a game they definitely had to win if they think they have a shot at the playoffs. So they found a way.
Next game was one of the more surprising ones for the week, at least for me, where the Browns beat the Tennessee Titans 41-35. And, dude, the Browns were up 38-7 at halftime, and they only got a field goal after that and 0 points in the fourth quarter. Baker Mayfield ended up with 25 of 33. The dude was on fire for 334 yards and 4 touchdowns. But he was 20 of 25 for 290 and all 4 of those touchdowns in the first half. They balled out, and this is yet another example of a coach taking his foot off the pedal with a big lead. It makes no sense. We talk about it all the time. These teams get these big leads, and they take the foot off the pedal. Jam that bad boy down. Beat the Titans 90-7 if you got to. Really make a statement, because the Titans, they gave them everything they wanted underneath. And Tannehill nickel and dimed them all the way down, and they were within 6 points at the end. Doesn't matter. I have no idea why coaches do that, but Nick Chubb, he is a monster. I love him. 85 yards and a touchdown, and he had a catch for 26 yards. Kareem Hunt, he is fading fast, only 33 yards rushing and 3 catches for 24 yards. Rashard Higgins led the way for the Browns, 6 for 95 and a touch. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 2 for 92 and a touch. Jarvis Landry, back-to-back good games for him, 8 for 62 and a TD. 10 guys caught a pass, including Baker Mayfield himself, and offensive lineman Kendall Lamb, who we talked about, caught a touchdown pass from Baker. And like we said, the Titans, they were doing anything they wanted to in the third, fourth quarter as far as throwing the ball goes. Ryan Tannehill, 383 for 3 touchdowns and a pick. And Derrick Henry, only 60 yards rushing and 1 catch for 9 yards after Mike Vrabel comes out and says, well, we need to throw him the ball more. Yeah, that didn't happen. We talked about the Jeremy McNichols guy scoring a touchdown. That should have gone to Derrick Henry, but what are you going to do there? After going 5 for 113 2 weeks ago and 3 for 70 last week, Corey Davis went off again, 11 for 182 and a touchdown. Good for you, Corey Davis. He is really turning his career around in a contract year, so good for him. Get that money, boy. A.J. Brown, 4 for 87, fumbled on the 1-yard line. Anthony Ferkser playing an expanded role with Jonnu Smith out, 5 for 51. And then, again, a bunch, like 7 of these no-name guys scored in this game with McCole Pruitt and Cameron Bateson getting touchdowns. The overall stats for this game were very close, top to bottom. But the Browns were 10 and 16 on third downs, while the Titans were only 2 for 10. They only converted 2 third downs all game, but scored 35 points. It's kind of an odd stat, if you ask me. But we can extend drives like Cleveland did. It allows you to win that time of possession battle by 13 minutes. And get that W.
Yeah, this is another weird game. I did watch a lot of this game, and old Baker was lights out, man, in the first half. Guy couldn't do no wrong. Yeah, but like you said, I think, obviously they let their foot off the pedal a little bit, which was kind of stupid because they should have won this game probably 59-35 or something like that. But, that's just how the NFL goes. These coaches don't like running up the score for some reason. I don't know, or whatever. But
Bill Belichick certainly doesn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, and he's the GOAT, man. So just take a page out of that book and
no kidding,
and just do it. Why are you going to go away from what works? I mean, if Baker Mayfield's out there, tossing the ball all over the field, hitting everybody for touchdowns, why are you going to stop? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you going to get conservative and give the Titans a chance to even come back into the game? You know what I mean? So it's just kind of a weird deal. But like you said, Mayfield, man, I don't know. He's just one of those guys. Like, I like Baker Mayfield, but he doesn't play like this every week. And if he did, a lot more people would like him, I think. But
yeah, I'd say so.
I don't know, man. In 9-3, though, I'll give it to the Browns. They're 9-3, and to me, they look better than the Ravens, and they almost look as good as the Steelers for now. I want to see. I guess the Browns probably have to play the Steelers again, right? They didn't play twice already, so I'm kind of interested to see that game. So that'll be a good game. I mean, I think, man, the Browns are playing good. If the Browns
play Steelers again, you're right. That'll tell a lot about the AFC in the playoffs.
Yeah, that'll be the first time in who knows, like a dozen years that game actually means anything. So that's good for the
dozen, maybe like
good for the Browns fans. Yeah, but man, like you said, I don't know, Derrick Henry. I think I was watching this game and I think they said he fumbled. And I think they said it was the first time he's fumbled in like 275 touches or something like that. So that was pretty wild. I mean, he's a guy that carries the ball a ton. So, that was a kind of a weird stat there. Thought that was pretty interesting. And Tannehill, the numbers look good, but, in that first half, I mean, he couldn't really do a whole lot. He was picking it up in the second half. So, the Browns, I think that defense might have let up a little bit and kind of let them get back into the game, which always seems to happen nowadays in the NFL. But Browns look good, man. I'm kind of interested. 9-3. I think this is the first time in since like 2002 or 3 that they're actually going to finish the year with a winning record or something. It said so. That's pretty.
It's been a long time.
Been a while, man. So I guess I'm kind of happy for the Browns fans. There you go. Yeah, good for them, and hopefully they can keep it going. Maybe win a playoff game or something like that. We'll see. But yeah, Nick Chubb. I mean, that guy. I can't say enough about him. I mean, I'm a Nick Chubb owner in a few teams, and I love that guy. And he carries them a little bit. I thought he should have had a little bit more than 18 carries because, I don't know. You would think, yeah, he does. I mean, like you said, Kareem Hunt getting those 14 carries. I mean, I love to see Kareem Hunt get about, I don't know, 7 or 8. And
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe 5 to 8, and then give Nick Chubb 24 to 25, maybe. I don't know, but
I'm in on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be in on that. And
now, our next game was a battle between two teams that normally do everything they can to give a game away, and one of them was successful. The Lions take down the Bears 34-30 with a nice fourth quarter comeback. The Lions were down. Bears had a nice little lead there. Matt Stafford goes 402 yards, 3 touchdowns and 1. Adrian Peterson gets 2 touchdowns again this game and on 57 yards rushing. Kerryon Johnson, only 5 touches. He's out of here. See you later, buddy. I don't know if DeAndre Swift is ever going to play again. He's got a concussion. He's sick. I don't know what's going on. Marvin Jones blew up 8 for 116 and a touchdown. TJ Hawkinson, 7 for 84. 6 other guys had 1 to 3 catches, with Quintez Cephus and Jesse James getting touchdowns. I guess I know Jesse James in that list earlier as well. Yeah. I don't know if he was – I think I might have left him out. But Hawkinson, I really hope, man, he's doing well. I hope they really start getting him involved as much as they have been, if not even more. And then for the Bears, Mitchell Trubisky. He normally plays great against Detroit, but not this time. Only 267 and 1 touchdown. And he, of course, fumbles in his own territory in the fourth quarter, which allowed the Lions to score the game-winning touchdown a few plays later. David Montgomery had another big day, back-to-back big days for him. He looked great coming back from injury in the bye. 72 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 4 catches for 39 yards. Cordero Patterson getting more run at running back. He had 10 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown of his own. A-Rob, 6 for 75 every week. Count on that guy getting you double digits in PPR leagues. Anthony Miller squeaked out a double-digit day, 5 for 56. And Cole Kmet got a touchdown on 5 for 37. This is 2 weeks in a row. He has outplayed Jimmy Graham. And I think with the Bears season out of here, this was a 6th loss in a row. They want to see what they have in the rookie tight end, Cole Kmet. And I think he's going to get the run over Jimmy Graham like he has now. And he could be a play for you if you're desperate for a tight end in the playoffs.
Yeah, he seems like he has some skill. That's a kid. I think he's from Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame, yeah. I don't know why they didn't get him mixed in earlier. I don't know. I kind of forgot about that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
tight ends are tough, though. I mean,
that's one of the
hardest positions to do well at as a rookie.
Yeah, I guess you got to learn the passing tree and all the routes you got to block and all that. So yeah, that is tough. But yeah, I hope he does something there because he looks like he could have some skill. So we'll see what they have with him. But I mean, to me, like you said, I don't know what's going on with DeAndre Swift. He has like the world's longest concussion. It's been like a month,
but this time he was just sick. I think he's back from the concussion, but he just like wasn't feeling well. Like
not feeling good. Yeah. So I mean, maybe he'll be back next week for I don't know, for your fantasy playoffs coming up in a week or two. So maybe you'll have him. But I mean, to me, in this game, I mean, David Montgomery to me has been having a couple good weeks lately, which was kind of I don't know, kind of unforeseen, I guess. He hasn't really been doing a whole lot this year. And the last couple of games, I thought he's looked okay, better than he has.
Yeah, he's got any good fantasy days.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually like a legit, fantasy starter, I guess, in your, at least a flex player. And Peterson, old man Peterson, scores another 2 touchdowns after he scored 2 on Thanksgiving Day. So if anybody picked him up, that was a good play there. And like you said, man, Stafford, 400 yards against the Bears defense, which, I mean, they're good. They're pretty good. I mean, they're nothing to sneeze at there. I mean, the Bears defense is pretty good. And I mean, Matty Stafford just goes out there and throws for 403 touchdowns. So
after being awful for 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah. So good for him, man. He's one of those guys. Like, I know we talked about him with, who came on? What's his name? Art, right? Art Claiborne?
Yep. Arthur Claiborne. Yep.
I remember we were talking about him. I mean, when you look at Matthew Stafford's numbers, I mean, if he plays another 5 years, this dude's going to be up there like the top 5 or top 3 to 5 in yards. And, he might get up there in touchdowns too. So I don't know, man. That's kind of –
especially if Kenny Golladay could stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, look, the guy that's been on the Lions his whole career to put up those stats. And I mean, they haven't won much with him there, but I don't know. I mean, he's going to be in the tops of, in those major stats. So I wonder if he'll get any kind of Hall of Fame love or not.
Tough.
It's going to be tough. Yeah, but man, I like Stafford. I mean, he's a good dude, and they don't hear anything bad about old Stafford. So he just goes out there and does his thing, man, with limited resources.
You should invite him to your birthday party.
I would, man. I like that. I would.
I don't know how much of the Bengals-Dolphins game you watched, but it was not very entertaining. The Dolphins win that one 19-7. The total yards, Dolphins had 406 total yards. The Bengals only had 196. Brandon Allen, basically the same stat line as last week. He was 11 for 19 for 153, a touchdown, an interception, and that he had absolutely nothing to do with that touchdown. Gio Bernard is a non-factor, 30 yards rushing, and Tyler Boyd caught like a 6-yard pass and ran it 72 yards into the end zone for that Allen touchdown pass. But Tyler Boyd was ejected for slap fighting or playing patty cake with somebody's helmet along the sidelines. He got kicked out. T. Higgins, 5 for 56, which is basically what he does now that Joe Burrow's not throwing him the football. Drew Sample, tight end for the Bengals, 7 catches, 49 yards. The Dolphins, they went back to Tua to start over Ryan Fitzpatrick. And, of course, because of that, Miami gets 1 offensive touchdown. I am not surprised in the least. Fitzpatrick is head and shoulders above Tua as the best quarterback for this team. But what am I to say or do about that? He only had 296 passing yards and 1 touchdown. So the yards are good, but you only get 1 score for 296 yards. Myles Gaskin, he came back with a full workload, 21 carries, 90 yards, and 2 catches for 51. If he could have gotten an end zone for you, that would have been super nice. Mike Gesicki, 9 for 88 and a touchdown. Wow, that's a good game for you there, Mr. Gesicki. And he had some pretty awesome catches. One-handed grabs over the middle. He was really doing some good things. And I hope the Dolphins, just like I hope the Lions get Hawkinson more involved, I really hope they get Gesicki more involved because he is an athletic freak out there running around at tight end position. Devontae Parker, surprise, surprise, only 4 catches for 35 yards. Tua cannot do it. And I don't know if you noticed, the Dolphins have the longest active streak in the NFL with a turnover. As far as the defense goes, I believe it's 18 games in a row they have forced a turnover, which is a pretty impressive stat line.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive for a team like the Dolphins. I guess they're doing pretty good this year. But like you said, I mean, to me, look, I mean, Brian Flores, he's a good coach, but I don't know what he's doing with this quarterback carousel thing. Like, I mean, why not just leave Fitzpatrick in there? I mean, you saw what Tua's got. Just looks like he's not ready yet. I think he needs a little time.
If only you had a better quarterback to play over him.
I know, right? So why not sprinkle in a little Fitz magic and just let him do his thing, man? Because I mean, like you said, he's better than Tua right now at this point. So I don't know, but like you said, who are we to criticize that? I mean, the Dolphins are winning football games, so
they're playing the Bengals.
Yeah, for sure, but I don't know. But they're winning games. I mean, what is their record? I mean, they have, 7 wins or something, right? The Bengals have 7 wins, right?
The Bengals?
Or no, the Dolphins.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. They're decent. So, I mean, I just don't know what they're doing with the quarterback thing, though. Like, it's just kind of to me, he put Tua in too early, and then now it's like, I don't know, just a carousel. And Tua wasn't even 100% this game, right? Wasn't he? He got hurt in the last game he played. Didn't he hurt his ankle or something like that? And I mean, he wasn't even 100%, and they still roll with him over, Fitzpatrick. So
Dolphins are 8-4.
Yeah, 8-4. So who are we to say that they're not?
I had no idea they had 8 wins. I'll be honest.
I knew they. I thought they had. I would have said 7, but I mean, they're a borderline playoff team. I mean, they're looking pretty.
4, you got to be in. Right now,
I mean, they're definitely in right now. So, man, I don't know, but yeah, Tua just doesn't look like he's ready. And Myles Gaskin looked up pretty good in his return. He's been out for a little while, and not much to say about the Bengals. I mean, they just didn't really do much. And T. Higgins was having a pretty good year earlier in the year, but he gets you those 4 or 5 catches for 50, 60 yards now. And Tyler Boyd, like you said, gets ejected after scoring like a 72-yard touchdown.
Yep.
after two Dolphins guys tackled each other, and then he ran into the end zone. So, good for him. I sat him on my bench. I mean, he would have got more points than my other guy, my other receiver. But I mean, who cares? But whatever. At this point, man, Bengals are they're in the running, I think, for the best offensive tackle probably in the draft at this point to help save old Burrow's knee. So
yeah, well, Jonah Williams went down again. I think he missed his whole rookie season last year. He was their number one pick, and then he just went down again this year. So hopefully it's not serious. I haven't heard anything about it, but I'm sure it will in the next couple of days.
Yeah, and the Bengals, I think they're probably, they're definitely going to draft offensive line in the draft. So you got to protect your golden boy Burrow. So
now, right. The Colts and the Texans game the ending was very difficult to watch. The Colts won a 26-20 heartbreaking game for the Texans. Man, Deshaun Watson, just everything is going against this poor guy. He's losing DeAndre Hopkins, his best wide receiver. Then he just loses Will Fuller, his next best wide receiver. And he's still making it happen. He's still playing well. And then with just like a minute or something to go, they're driving down the field, and Watson fumbles on like the 4-6 yard line, something like that. And the Colts recover, and that was it. That game was basically over. So very heartbreaking. And you have to root for Deshaun Watson. He's such a good guy, and he plays so well and against all odds, but just wasn't happening for him, unfortunately. Rivers, 285 yards and 2 touchdowns, no picks. Good for you, Phillip Rivers. Jonathan Taylor, slow start to the game, but he ended up with 13 carries for 91 yards and 3 catches for 44 yards and a nice long 39-yard touchdown. Nyheim Hines, of course, ruins Taylor's monster day by getting a rushing touchdown. Now, you'll take Taylor's stat line, but he could have had a much bigger day if Hines doesn't steal a 5-yard touchdown from him. T.Y. Hilton, back-to-back weeks, 8 for 110 and a touchdown. Is T.Y. Hilton a thing now? I don't know. He might be. Rivers is looking at him. Michael Pittman, only 5 for 46 after he was basically the waiver wire darling of the week last week. And nobody else on the team top 3 grabs. Texans, we talked about Watson. Without those 2 receivers, Hopkins and Fuller, he's still great, man. I mean, he was going against a tough defense. He's undermanned. He still threw for 341 yards. Now, he didn't have any touchdowns, 1 pick, but he had 38 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. So you'll take that for fantasy. I mean, he got you 20 points. So, I mean, if you get 20 points from your quarterback, it's tough to be upset over that. David Johnson, 44 yards rushing, a touchdown. Watson completed 26 passes, but only 5 guys caught a ball. Kiki Kuti blew up 8 for 141. Chad Hansen, who? 5 catches, 101 yards. Brandon Cooks was 5 for 65, and Duke Johnson 6 catches for 24. Unfortunately, Jordan Akins, you thought would have a nice day, only 2 catches, 10 yards. Now, Hansen, I mentioned Chad Hansen. Give you a little for those of us out there who had never heard of him, including myself. He's from California. He went to Cal. He transferred into Cal. We only had 1 D1 scholarship, and that was from like Idaho State or something. So he transferred there, went to Cal, had a great junior season, and entered the draft, foregoing his senior year. Jets took him in the 4th round of the 2017 draft. At one point or another, he's been on the Jets, the Patriots, the Titans, the Broncos, the Saints, and now the Texans. He was just activated this past Saturday from the practice squad and decided he was going to go out there and get you, 5 catches for 101?
101, yeah, 15 points.
Good for you, Chad Hansen.
Yeah, so I got to keep grinding. You find your way. So
that's an Adam Thielen story there.
Yeah, man, good for him. Yeah, I didn't know the whole backstory, but yeah, of course. I mean, like I said, I've never heard of him before Sunday, and I had to look it up. So
a lot of unheard of guys this week.
Yeah, I guess teams are finding, I don't know, just those guys are stepping up. So I guess that's a good thing maybe for some of those teams. Man, like you said, Deshaun Watson, I did watch this game, and, I thought he was going to pull it off there at the end. It looked like they were going to win that game, and then, he was kind of a low snap. I mean, I'll blame the center on that one a little bit. And then he kind of just bobbled that thing, and the Colts recovered it. And then I saw the picture of him just on the bench with the towel over his head, and there was nobody there was just nobody on the field. I mean, he must have sat there for 45 minutes with the towel on his head. I mean, just, the guy that shows that he wants to win games and he's putting a lot of pressure on himself, and he's doing it without much help. They just giving guys away. Bill O'Brien was kind of, giving guys away for peanuts. Yeah. So, you got to respect Deshaun Watson, in that sense. And I looked it up. I mean, Deshaun Watson, they said he's averaging 8.8 yards per passing attempt, which if he ends the year will be the second most all time, behind old Otto Graham in 1955.
That's a good stat.
Yeah. So, and remember the Texans played the Browns in that game where there was like a hurricane. So I'm sure I didn't look at that game, but I don't think he threw many times in that game. So you never know; those numbers could be even higher if they didn't have that kind of weird game there with the Browns. But like the Colts, man, Jonathan Taylor, I've been waiting for this kid to do this kind of on the regular all year. I know we've been talking about him a lot, and I don't know. Finally, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty fresh out there. Maybe that was the whole deal. Keep him a little fresh, and they're going to just maybe unleash him towards the end of the year here. So we'll see what happens. But I know the Texans aren't that great of a defensive team. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen Nyheim Hines not play as much as he does. It seems like every time I tuned into this game, Taylor wasn't in. But
Hines is good though. He really is.
He is. He has some skill. But so maybe you can cut out the other cat. Who's the other dude? Wilkins. I know he plays.
Jordan Wilkins. Get him out of here.
Yeah, I don't know why he even sees the field besides special teams. But man, JT looks pretty good, so I'll give him that. And Colts kind of got lucky in that game, but in the NFL you get lucky a few times, and this was definitely one of those games for them. Rivers played pretty good. Not many games where he doesn't throw an interception, so you'll take that. And then T.Y. Hilton, like you said, 2 weeks in a row. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll give him one more week. Third time's a charm, but I'm sure some people are going to be
run out of time though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure people are going to be scooping him up, but I don't know if I could count on him if you're in the playoffs there. I don't know if I'm waiting one more week and then scooping him up and playing him, but I don't know. Good for him. Phillip Rivers looking his way, like you said, and I don't know, man. Colts look pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'd be afraid to play them in the playoffs, but they wouldn't be my first choice.
Yeah, I mean, they're tough. It's just a tough team. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about Rivers, though. I don't know, man. He doesn't really he's not a guy that you're really scared of come playoff time because he's going to maybe try to do a little bit too much, you know what I'm saying? And he might, he makes some mistakes. So we'll see. Maybe Frank Reich can limit that, but you never know.
All right. So I have been waiting all show to talk about my favorite game of the week. The Raiders beating the Jets 31-28 in a comeback fourth quarter win. I'm so excited. I went from thinking the Jets were the absolute dumbest team in sports to realizing they might not be all that dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So late in the fourth quarter, for those of us who don't know, the Jets were actually winning this game. They picked off Derek Carr. The Raiders were driving, and they were putting their completely defeated season in at risk here. I think there was only like 2 minutes to go or something when they pick off Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jets end up punting. With 20 seconds to go, Derek Carr overthrows an open receiver in the end zone due to the Jets not playing all of their DBs in a deep zone coverage. So, I mean, every high school coach in America, if they're put in that same situation, they're going to drop anywhere from 4 to 7 guys way deep, put their heels on the goal line to make sure no matter what, they don't catch a touchdown pass. But the Jets did not do that. The very next play, the Jets stayed in man coverage, and Derek Carr threw it deep to Henry Ruggs, one of the fastest guys in the NFL, for a game-winning touchdown. Now, there is absolutely nothing in this world that will convince me that the Jets did not purposely allow that touchdown to happen. I mean,
they did.
No one, an 8-year-old playing Madden would not run a man coverage in that situation, but they did. And Henry Ruggs is going to outrun any defensive back you put out there. Now, unfortunately, Greg Williams was probably the mastermind behind this and was doing his duty to keep the number 1 pick in the Jets' pocket. They fire him to make it. I guess they had needed a scapegoat. They had to make it look like they weren't trying to lose this game.
Yeah.
But, dude, Greg Williams took the fall and got fired for being the smartest guy on the field for the Jets. And it's sad, and I hate it. But, I guess it had to happen. But good for you, Greg Williams. You can come coach my team anytime. And Derek Carr, we're talking about 381, 3 touchdowns and a pick. He also had a rushing touchdown. Dude, Darren Waller was an absolute monster. He went 13 catches, 200 yards. I think there's only been like 4 or 5 other tight ends in history get 200 receiving yards in a game. 2 touchdowns. No other player on the entire team had more than 4 catches. He had 13. Nobody else had more than 4. The Jets, this is one of the Sam Darnold's probably one of his better games, and he isn't good. No one of the Jets are losing on purpose. They got to get Trevor Lawrence in here. He 186, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He also had a rushing touchdown, oddly enough. Frank Gore gets hurt on like his first carry. So Ty Johnson steps in, 22 carries in a workhorse role, 104 yards and a touchdown. He also had 2 catches for 13. Now, Ty Johnson, I really like him. He is from a very small town in Maryland, Cumberland, Maryland. And I know this because it's only about 45 minutes, maybe an hour west of where I'm from in Maryland. And Maryland is not known for football. But where he's from in Cumberland is as close to one of those Texas football towns as you can get. There's only 19,000 people in the whole town. They have 2 high schools that share a stadium. And no matter who's playing, whether it's Fort Hill, where Ty Johnson went, or Allegheny, the other high school, the whole town shuts down every Friday night. Everybody packs the stadiums. That's what they do. It's a pretty cool scene. I was able to play up there once in high school, and it was I hadn't experienced it any other time in my high school career. So I really like that, and I'm happy for him getting out of that small country town in Maryland that just loves football, and he'd make it all the way to the pros. So good for you, buddy. Even the former Eagle, Josh Adams, had 8 carries for 74 yards. The Jets had 206 total rushing yards on the ground. Jamison Crowder, only receiver with more than 2 catches. He went 5, 47, and he found the end zone twice on my bench, mind you.
Yeah, me too. Sitting there just collecting dust on my bench, but him and
collecting dust in fantasy points.
Yeah, him and Tyler Boyd just sitting there on my bench, just collecting some points for me. That's great. But yeah, like you said, man, there's no way the Jets. I mean, nobody in their right mind calls like it was man coverage, but he called like an all-out blitz. I mean, like on a.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, the last play of the game, and then you got one of the fastest guys, and Hope Ruggs was like the fastest dude at the combine, and then you're going to leave your guy out there one-on-one with him. Derek Carr just launched that thing straight up in the air, and he ran underneath of it. Yeah, man, they made it look easy, and then. I mean, he should have hit Aguilar on the play before. I think he overthrew Aguilar on the play before, which I thought that was they had a good chance there. But
I bet Williams was so upset when he didn't hit Aguilar because he's like, oh man, I got to do this play again.
He's like, I got to do this play again, and now I'm definitely going to get fired. But
Yep.
Maybe the Jets fired him, and then they'll hire him back as the head coach because he has some.
There's a thought.
He's got a little moxie, man. Because nobody, I think they said, what was it on ESPN? They said like. Out of so many situations like that, like nobody has ever
happened. Yeah, 256 times.
Yeah,
the team has been in that situation, and no one has ever called that defense.
Yeah, but like you said, I guess you can't just let that happen and then roll with him, for the rest of the year. I guess they kind of have to. He probably knew it was happening. It was just like, hey, I'm going to go out with a bang, and this is what it is. So,
it's the best play the Jets have had all year.
It is, yeah, for sure, because it keeps them. Winless, I guess. So that's what they want. But hopefully Trevor Lawrence doesn't go back to Clemson for another year. So
Justin Fields.
Yeah, you always get Fields. So yeah, either way, they'll be better next year. I guess they'll win 3 games or something next year. But yeah, I mean, my condolences to everybody who played against Darren Waller this week in fantasy because if you're going against a tight end that scores, I mean, what did he have? 30? He had 40-something points. I mean, good luck with that. Yeah, so tough to make that up. And like you said, Ty Johnson, man, great story. I didn't know he was from Maryland, and he could be somebody you could pick up because Gore, I think he
only got 1 D1 offer as well, and that was from the Terrapins.
Really? Yeah, that's good for him, man. So yeah, make something happen. I hope he I don't know. I hope they keep feeding him. I guess there's no reason not to. Maybe they'll have something
He played well.
with that kid. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're hurting for a running back, I mean, he might be a decent option because, the Jets are just looking to lose and they're going to run the ball and try not to score a bunch of points. But, man, that's a good story. Great story, man. I like that. Yeah. That's pretty good.
And another surprising game, the New York Football Giants beat the Seattle Seahawks 17-12. That was I don't understand. And a weird score at one point it was 8-5. And I remember looking at that score thinking, how many times in NFL history has there been a score 8-5? And I tried to look it up and do a little research quickly. I couldn't find anything on that. So if any of our listeners can tell me how many times in an NFL game the score's been 8-5, I would be pretty interested in knowing this. I mean, a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, or 2 field goals and 2-point conversion, and a field goal and a 2-point. Or safety. I mean, it's very strange. Anyway,
weird comment.
Colt McCoy led Giants pull off the upset and very surprising win. He had 100 yards passing, like 109 maybe or something like that. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And speaking of weird things, is Wayne Gallman good?
I think he is. Yeah, I think he's pretty decent.
Wayne Gallman might be good. 16 carries, $135. And, of course, old man Alf Morris comes in. He steals not 1 but 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and his first receiving touchdown of his career he scored in this game. You can't give my man Gallman one of those scores. Obviously, no receivers did anything. Evan Ingram, he led the way, quote, 4 catches for 32 yards, and yet again he has a ball go through his hands. I think that's how the interception happened. Every time I watch a Giants game, Evan Ingram is bouncing balls off of his hands. It's unbelievable how terrible of a receiver he is. But if he can get his get the ball in his grasp, he can do something with it. Now the Seahawks, Russell Wilson is falling off tremendously, and it's heartbreaking for me because I really like the guy, but he's barely a top 20 quarterback this week. He's 19th, and that was before this game that's on right now, the Ravens and the Cowboys. Before this game started, he was 19th, so he could easily be outside the top 20 when it's all said and done. And he's only 11th overall the last 4 weeks, again, before tonight's game. 263, a touchdown and a pick, 45 rushing yards. Chris Carson looked pretty good, 65 yards rushing, 3 catches, 45, and a nice touchdown grab for him. DK Metcalf, 5 for 80. Tyler Lockett, 6 for 63.
Yeah, I tuned into this game for a little bit, and I couldn't believe my eyes that the Giants actually were going to beat the Seahawks. I don't know what was more surprising, this game or the Washington football team's win. I guess we'll get to that one soon. But, yeah, man, I think the Giants are going to win the NFC East hands down at this point. I think this game won them the NFC East.
I think the Redskins got it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the Giants – I don't know.
It doesn't really matter.
They're both not that good, but, the Redskins didn't play yet they didn't play Pittsburgh yet at this point, so I figured they're going to get blown out. And, that didn't happen. But on Sunday, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, damn, I think the Giants really are about to win this division. And I think it's the 4th win in a row, right? So with Colt McCoy, a dude throws 109 yards. It's hard to have a good game as a receiver or a tight end when your quarterback throws for 109 yards. So, like you said, Ingram 32 led the way. And what do you do with Wayne Gallman? Do you keep that cat?
Start him every week in fantasy.
But, I was just say, going into next year, when you get Saquon Barkley back, do you roll with him as the backup, or do you try to kind of sell him high maybe and get a –
I'd keep Gallman.
Yeah. I guess I'd keep him. Because Barkley –
he already knows the offense. I'd keep him. And how high
Barkley gets hurt a lot.
Go for Gallman, Yeah. I don't think you get much from it.
But either way, the guy's got some skill. I know he was pretty talented. He went to Clemson. I remember seeing him in college. He was a good running back in college.
He wasn't good in the NFL to now, and now he's.
Now he's.
Maybe he just needed a roll, get a couple games under his belt.
Yeah, man, and like you said with Russ, another hard thing to watch because I do like Russell Wilson. He's a good dude as well. But man, he was lights out at the beginning of the year, hands down MVP, and man, he's definitely not winning that this year. He might, I don't know, maybe he'll get his first vote. Maybe somebody will give him a vote so he can scratch that off his list, I guess, if he wants that. But Seahawks, man, this kind of laid an egg in this game. I don't know what they were doing, just didn't look in rhythm at all. And man, that's a game that you have to win. I mean, at home, going against Colt McCoy, and you come out and score 12 points at home. I mean, I know, there's no fans in the crowd or whatever like that, but man, it's a game that they have to win, especially in that division. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that division's pretty close, and that's a game that you have locked down as a win, and that didn't happen. But yeah, Russ just not doing that great, man. This last couple of weeks, man. I'm sure he'll pick it up. I think they play the Jets this week, so
yeah, hopefully he'll finish strong.
Maybe you'll roll with him for sure this week. I mean, you have to probably play Russ this week against the Jets, so
yeah,
see what he does. Maybe he'll get back on track, 3 or 4 touchdowns, but. I don't know, man. Giants are kind of my sleeper. I think they're going to win the NFC East, which doesn't really matter. But, hey, they'll be in the playoffs, I guess.
Next, the Rams get a 38-28 win in a very important NFC West matchup with playoff spots on the line. They take down the Cardinals. The Rams outgained the Cardinals by 231 yards and 17 more minutes in time of possession. That is absurd. Jared Goff, 351 and a touchdown and a rushing touchdown. A lot of rushing touchdowns for quarterbacks this week. Cam Akers was far and away the lead back, 21 carries, 72 yards and a touchdown. He also had a catch for 22. Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown only had 3 carries each, and Henderson did end up finding the end zone, though, on one of those carries. Robert Woods is definitely the number 1 receiver now for the Rams. He's doing it week in and week out. 10 catches for 85 yards. Cooper Kupp, 8 catches for 73. Tyler Higbee got the touchdown, and Jared Everett went 6 for 44, but you can't trust these tight ends from them. The Cardinals, Kyler Murray, only 173 yards passing, but he did have 3 passing touchdowns and 1 pick, only 15 rushing yards. Defenses are really boxing him in and not allowing him to use his feet, and we're seeing, I think the Cards have lost 4 of their last 5, something like that. Not good for Kyler Murray and friends. Kenyon Drake, 10 carries, 49 yards and a touchdown, 2 catches for 9. Dan Arnold led the way in receiving, 2 catches, 61 yards. Both of those catches for touchdowns. Arnold's got 3 touchdown catches on the year, and they've all happened in the last 2 or 3 weeks. DeAndre Hopkins, 8 for 52 and a touchdown. And that's basically it for the receivers there. Nobody else really made a splash at all.
Yeah, this was a pretty good game, high-scoring game. I mean, the Rams, I mean, geez. The Cardinals' defense just isn't good. They can't rush the passer because Goff just was sitting back there all day. And I don't know. And we talk about Jared Goff quite often on here. I mean, he's not the best quarterback in the world, and he kind of was doing his thing, I guess, in this game, man. And the Cardinals' defense just isn't that good. I'm not excited about them if I'm a Cardinals fan. And Kyler, like you said, teams just feel like this dude was scoring rushing touchdowns every week, I think, for the first 7 or 8 weeks. And then, I mean, ever since that one game where he, looked like he hurt his shoulder or whatever, he hasn't done much. I mean, it's been the last 3 weeks, I think. He hasn't done much rushing-wise.
Hail Mary game was his last good game.
Yeah, and that was what? I mean, that had to have been over a month ago. So I think it was about 4 weeks ago. But, yeah, I mean, he still looks – I mean, fantasy-wise, he still threw 3 touchdowns. But, when you're watching the game, he just doesn't look like he did in the beginning of the year. I mean, he's not I don't know. He's just not, there right now. But – and, man, DeAndre Hopkins, I thought he had a pretty decent game going up against Jalen Ramsey. He shuts most guys down, and D-Hop did okay in this game.
13 targets.
Yeah, so that's quite the number of targets there for Murray to be targeting old Jalen Ramsey. So maybe that had something to do with, some of those limited yardage. But, man, I don't know. Like you said, Robert Woods, I guess he's the guy he's had – I think this is, his 3rd week in a row. I think he's been hands down, I guess, the best receiver on that squad. And Cam Akers, to me, I mean, I think Cam Akers is now the guy, I guess. And he should be. I mean, he looks like he has the guy with – he has the most skill, and he's a rookie. And like you said, Darrell Henderson only had 3 carries, but I think he broke a 40-yard touchdown or something like that. So, that is what it is. I don't think you can start Henderson anymore in fantasy. I think Akers is the guy if you have him, or if you've picked him up or you're sitting on your bench. I think he's
tough to trust, but if you got to flex him, you got to flex him.
Yeah, I was going to say if you need somebody in a flex, I think he could do a lot worse than Cam Akers at this point because it's looking like he's going to be the guy. Man, Cardinals, I just don't know, man. In that division, this is a big win for the Rams. I mean, in that tight division, especially with Seattle blowing that game against the Giants. So, I mean, we'll see what happens down the line. I guess in this last month, but big win for the Rams and that Cardinals D, man. I'm not if they get into the playoffs, I wouldn't be too excited, with that defense right there because they're not good.
All right. Well, unfortunately for our guy that we absolutely love, Justin Herbert, the Patriots put a walloping on the Chargers, 45-0. Zilch. Not a single point was scored for the Los Angeles Chargers. And this is a spot where I give my weekly "the Patriots are a weird team" statement. And they scored 45 points with a quarterback only completing 12 passes, 3 running backs with double-digit carries, and no receiver getting more than 2 catches. And a backup quarterback threw a touchdown pass. They are such a strange team. Cam Newton, 69 yards passing and a touchdown. And 14 carries for Cam Newton, 48 yards and 2 scores. So luckily, well, actually, I mean, I guess luckily, but I did everything I could to get him off of one of my teams, and I just couldn't. There was no one. It's like him or Sam Darnold. I just couldn't do it. So luckily came through there. Damon Harris, 16 carries for 80 yards. Sony Michel also had 10 carries, but only 35 yards there. N'Keal Harry caught a touchdown. Gunnar Olszewski caught a touchdown from Jarrett Stidham in mop-up work. And he also, Olszewski did, returned a punt for a touchdown 1 week after getting a punt return for a touchdown called back. So last week he scored on a punt return also, but his holding call or something like that brought it back. The dude was a cornerback at the often talked about Division II school, Bemidji State University in Minnesota. So I'm sure
what that mascot is. I'll have to look that up.
I'm sure all of our listeners, I think it's a beaver.
Yeah, there you go. It's got to be something weird.
I might have made it up, but I think it's a beaver. I know it's in Minnesota.
We'll have to fact check that. We'll have to put the mascot on the page. But I don't know.
Good for him. And the Chargers, gosh, ugly. Anthony Lynn is sprinting to be one of the first head coaches fired on Black Monday after the season. Herbert only had 209 yards passing. He had 2 picks, obviously no touchdowns, 53 attempts. He only had 209 yards. Austin Eckler, 36 yards, 4 catches for 32. Keenan Allen, only 5 for 48. Mike Williams was 4 for 43. I mean, it's just, gosh, it was so bad. Hunter Henry, 1 catch for 5 yards. I mean, Herbert tried to find a playmaker. He completed a pass to 11 different guys. I mean, he did everything he could to put the ball in anyone's hands who was going to do something, but it just didn't happen. And I don't know if you noticed this, Mr. Bryan. After the game, Bill Belichick was chatting it up with soon-to-be free agent Hunter Henry.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that, but yeah, Bill does his thing, man. That would.
Hey.
Yeah, he could be that would be a good fit probably over there. So yeah,
great.
I could see that happening. He looks like he could be a Patriot, but yeah, I feel bad for our boy Herbert, man. This was kind of like his, welcome to the NFL, son. 45-0, man. He didn't complete, he threw 53 times, didn't even complete half of his passes, threw 2 picks. And you're going up against Belichick. I mean, he's one of the best coaches or the best coach to ever coach in the NFL. And, he always comes up with these game plans for these young quarterbacks, and he always seems to kind of just, dominate these dudes when the first time that he plays them. And, I'm sure Herbert will learn from this, but, this was an ugly game. And I think Anthony Lynn lost his job last week after that whole time debacle thing that we talked about last week.
I hope so.
And Anthony Lynn, look, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the guy. It's just, I just don't know if he's a good NFL coach. I mean, he was.
Well, he's not very good at clock management.
No, I guess that's part of the job, and he's not good at that either. And they're not winning games, so you got that going against you. But I mean, maybe he'll latch on as a coordinator somewhere. I don't think he'll get another head coaching gig, but I don't know, man. At 6-6, do you think? I think the Patriots. You think they're going to be a playoff team here, or what?
They
What do you
can't.
think?
They can't. I don't know. I don't know. They're such a weird team. I
I
have
think they play.
absolutely no idea.
Who they play?
They
They got
play the
the
Rams on
Rams this week.
Thursday.
Oh, that's a tough one.
They'll probably win that game. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and then they got to play. I know they play the Jets again, so that should
They'll
be
probably
another
lose
win.
that game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I could see the Patriots being like 9-7 and making a playoff, but
We were talking
man,
about the Patriots as being a bottom five, bottom six team.
and now they're
Not that long ago. Several
now
months
they're
ago.
borderline
And
playoff.
we were right. They were not good.
Mm-hmm. Man, Chargers, yeah, man. I mean, they're just not a good team right now. I think they're at this point. I mean, there's not much that they can do. They're obviously not going to win a division, not going to go to the playoffs. They know what they have in Herbert. I think right now they have like the 4th pick of the draft, so they'll probably just do whatever they can to keep that pick. And
Yep.
I don't want to see. I don't want to see Herbert regress, though. I don't want this to be kind of like a snowball effect for him. You know what I mean?
I don't think it will.
I don't think it will. I hope it doesn't.
He showed too much promise.
Yeah, and like I said, Patriots are just a weird team, man. I don't know if they're turning. I guess we'll see Thursday night, but
yeah.
Yep. And man, that's a game too. I mean, that's a what was that? That was a Super Bowl matchup where Bill Belichick dominated McVay. So I mean, you would think McVay is going to be a little juiced up for that game, and
they're in LA.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Belichick might have the winning formula against Sean McVay. So we'll see what happens on Thursday night.
All right, so your Philadelphia Eagles lost 30-16 to the Green Bay Packers, and the Eagles almost screwed this up by they pulled to within 7 with a few minutes to go, but luckily for the Eagles' first-round draft pick, Aaron Jones wasn't having any of it and scored on a career-long 77-yard touchdown at the 2 minutes 36 seconds to go. But the bigger story was Carson Wentz got benched for Jalen Hurts. Wentz was 6 for 15 for 79 yards in like 38 minutes of play. And Hurts was 5 for 12 for 109 and a touchdown and a pick in only like 22 minutes. And people made a big I've seen this written 100 times about how Hurts is, he's only a 1 or 2 read quarterback. And if you don't know those about us out there, Hurts is starting this coming week against the Saints in our awesome defense. So this is not going to probably go too well. But Hurts just looked more lively out there and give a little spark to the offense. He's a more natural dual threat quarterback. So I'm excited to see it happen. And Hurts outrushed Wentz 29 yards to 18 yards. And he had over 10 fantasy points in very limited action.
Yeah.
So that's okay. From a fantasy standpoint, you'll take that. And I mean, look, Miles Sanders, gosh, I don't know what to do about this guy. Another bad game, 10 carries for 31 yards. He dropped he didn't drop a pass. He fell down running a route. This guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's maddening. Someone picked him to have 1,800 total yards this year, and the poor guy's not even going to have half that.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's on him. I think the offensive line's trash, and they don't give him the ball enough.
Everybody, they don't. I know, but gosh, man, it's so infuriating. Dallas Goedert's the only one of 4 receivers who really did much work. He had 5 catches for 66 yards. Greg Ward only had 3 catches. One of them was a touchdown, though. Now the Packers, gosh, Aaron Rodgers is awesome. I love watching this dude quarterback. He is so good. He only had 9 incompletions all game, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns. He brings his season total to 36 touchdown passes, only 4 picks. Watch out, Patty Mahomes. There's a new leader in the clubhouse, I think, for MVP. I mean, Rodgers is so good. And Aaron Jones, he only had 14 carries for 53 yards outside of that 77-yard touchdown run. But so he ends up with 130 on the ground, 3 catches for 18. Darius Slay was embarrassed for the second week in a row before going down with an injury. Yeah, maybe. He's probably just tired of getting his butt whooped all over the field. Devontae Adams, 10 catches, 121, and 2 touchdowns, including Aaron Rodgers' 400th career touchdown, making him the fastest quarterback to do that. And then Robert Tonyan was the only other player to really do anything, 4 catches, 39 yards, and he found the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, this was a tough game. I mean, as an Eagles fan, I guess we'll get to see what Hurts has to offer. So I guess that's a positive because I'm tired of hearing every week that Hurts should go in. So, he's going to go in against probably one of the best defenses in the NFL right now. So, good luck, old Jalen. But like you said, I mean, he can move around a little bit more. I mean, Wentz is kind of like a sitting duck back there sometimes. He holds the ball too long. Maybe Hurts will get it out quicker. Or maybe, if his first or second read isn't there, maybe this dude will just take off and run. So he's obviously way more of a natural gifted runner than Carson Wentz. But, man, we'll see what happens. That's a tough situation because I know the Eagles owe Wentz a ton of money, and I just don't know how that's all going to play out. So
It'll be tough to get rid of him.
I guess we'll see what happens, man, because I looked it up, and I think they obviously can't cut Carson Wentz.
No.
They can trade him if any team would – obviously teams would take him. But, I mean, he has that huge contract extension that they gave him, 4 years, 128 that kicks in. It doesn't even start until next year. So, I mean, I think next year he'll make I think he's making 29 to 30 million a year or something like that. And if the Eagles were to cut him, I think it counts as like $59 million against the cap. So obviously you can't.
And I'm sure the cap's going to go down, which isn't going to be helpful.
That's what I mean. And I think the Eagles are already over the salary cap for next year. So I don't know, it's not going to be good, but I'm sure somebody could trade for Wentz, but I'm not going to get too high on Hurts. Like you said, I mean, he did have more yards than Wentz. Wentz wasn't playing good, but I mean, I think at the time when Hurts went in there, Green Bay's defense wasn't trying to do a whole lot. I mean, I'll give him that touchdown pass was nice, but I mean, he had a couple nice passes, but I mean, they weren't, it wasn't the same defense that they were throwing at Carson Wentz out there. They were kind of just playing back, and he completed 5 passes. That was a nice, the rollout pass to Greg Ward was a pretty nice pass. But
I mean, Wentz only had 1 completion to a wide receiver in 38 minutes of play.
Yeah, I mean, Wentz it's just not – I don't know, man. I think Wentz has skill, but it's obviously he's just not going to do it in Philly. I guess it's just going to have to be somewhere else.
And the guy has to stare at a statue of Nick Foles every time he drives to the stadium.
Yeah, I just think, it's just – I think he needs a fresh start. Like we talk about these guys that need fresh starts. I think Carson Wentz will be fine somewhere else. I think it's just not going to be for the Eagles anymore. So
yep, I hear you.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully for our sake and my sake, I hope Hurts is good and does something and he isn't a bust. So because then we're going to be in quite some trouble for years to come if he's not any good.
Right.
But, man, I don't know. Like you said, the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, to talk about a little bit about the Packers. I mean, he threw his 400th touchdown pass to Davante Adams, I guess. That was a pretty cool little celebration. Davante Adams kind of, I don't know, kneeled down in front of him and gave him the ball, and they acted like they put a crown on his head, which was pretty cool. So, man, I don't know. I guess he gets to that 400 touchdown club, and I'm sure by the time he's done playing, man, he'll be up there. Well, I don't guess he won't be up there as number 1, I think.
I don't know.
Oh, Brady's got 569, so I don't know if
yeah, but if he's throwing, 30 a year, he only needs 4 more years.
Yeah, well, 4 more years only puts him at like 520. Brady's already got 570, so I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, still, the guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer, Aaron Rodgers. And, this year, what a great game, great season he's having. And like you said, to me, he's the MVP. Mahomes maybe comes a little bit close. Like we talked about earlier, Russ is pretty much done for MVP. So it's a 2-man race in my mind. And right now I think Rodgers has it.
We'll see. Not too many more weeks left, so we'll find out soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos surprisingly kept it close with the Chiefs and only lost 22-16. And they were actually up 10-9 at halftime. Drew Lock 151, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Dude's not good. Melvin Gordon had a great day on the ground, 15 carries for 131. It's only his second 100-yard effort on the year. Noah Fant was 4 for 57. Tim Patrick had 2 touchdowns on 4 catches for 44 yards. No one else had more than 2 catches or 16 yards. Gosh, it is so tough to have young talents like Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler, and having a QB like Locke who can't get them the ball. Mahomes, 318 yards, 1 touchdown. Le'Veon Bell was the lead back, and I use the word lead loosely. CEH did not play. He only ended up with 11 carries for 40 yards. Bell did, and 2 catches for 15. Kelsey crushed it, 8 catches for 136 and a touch. Tyreek Hill came back to earth after his ridiculous game last week. He only had 6 catches for 58 yards. The Chiefs were only 3 for 10 on third downs, while Denver was 7 for 13. thought that was kind of an interesting post-game stat.
Yeah, this was kind of I don't know. I mean, you would think the score would have been a little bit more lopsided than it was, but Mahomes is doing his thing, man, and Andy Reid, these guys they have the winning formula and they're tough to beat. And what was up with, CEH? I know he was questionable heading into the game, and then
so they had him for emergency purposes.
Yeah, I guess they made him active, and then he just didn't play. So that was kind of weird to me, but whatever. Bell didn't do a whole lot.
If you had him for fantasy.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely stinks. And like you said, Locke, this kid, man, he's just so unlikable, man. He's out there doing like the Hulk Hogan ear after they score touchdowns and like, bro, you're just not that good at football, man. Just relax. I know you're throwing touchdown passes in the NFL, but like, guy acts like he's Patrick Mahomes. Does Patrick Mahomes do that when he throws touchdowns? Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, does Aaron Rodgers might do his little discount double check thing, but like this dude's like, I don't know. He's just, maybe he's just young and immature.
But Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers are good. Like they can do whatever.
This guy, he like Locke. He just like tries too hard. Like he wants you to think that he's good when he throws a touchdown. He has to like slam it in everybody's face. Like, look what I did. I threw a touchdown. Like, let me do this crazy celebration. But yeah, man, Jerry Jeudy, to me, he's one of my biggest disappointments this year because I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to do pretty good over there with the Broncos, but geez, this guy he doesn't do much.
I tried to tell you, and I try to tell these folks,
he doesn't do enough.
Can't do it. Can't get it done. That's why Courtland Sutton was such a big loss because Courtland Sutton's a big dude. Locke needs a big receiver that he can try to get the ball to.
Yeah, I can see. And look, John Elway, he doesn't stick with quarterbacks too often, man. He kind of he likes to shuffle those guys around. So I think Locke might be on borrowed time right now. So he better pick it up, or they're either going to draft somebody, or I don't know, maybe they'll trade for our boy Carson Wentz. I can see him going to Denver and maybe being okay, I guess, out there, or the Colts or something like that. But I don't know. There's talent on that team, and I don't think they're going to do much with Drew Lock. So it is what it is, man. But I guess they kept it close if you want a moral victory in this one. They still lost the game, albeit by 6 points. But I thought they were going to lose this one by double digits. But I guess they kept it close.
Yep. Now, I think some people may have been surprised. I'm sure everyone in Western Pennsylvania was surprised at the Washington Steelers game, but I was not. I anticipated Washington to be able to pull this one out. 23-17, the football team in D.C. takes down the previously undefeated Steelers. Dude, there were a lot of drop passes in this game. That's like the first thing I wrote down taking notes for the show was they were just both teams had. There may have been double-digit drops in this game. It's very.
I think the Steelers had seven. I think they had. Yeah.
This is NFL. That shouldn't be happening. But Alex Smith went 296-1. Antonio Gibson went out with an injury after his second carry. Tiki Barber, Peyton Barber took over with a astonishing 14 carries, 23-yard day. He did find the end zone, though. J.D. McKissick, 10 catches for 70 yards. The Steelers just flat out refused to cover him underneath. They didn't even try to put anyone on J.D. McKissick coming out of the backfield. Logan Thomas looked awesome. Even if you only watch the highlights of this game, Logan Thomas was a man amongst boys. Tight end for Washington, 9 catches, 98 yards, a touchdown. I believe the catches and the yards were career highs for him. Cam Sims, who Alex Smith seems to like a lot, went 5 for 92. And Terry McLaurin, only 2 catches for 14 yards. It was his first awful game since week 5, where he was 3 for 26. And those have really been his only duds all year. And then he was in week 5, he's going against the Rams and Jalen Ramsey. Now the Steelers, Big Ben had 53 passing attempts. 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 very, very costly interception. The ball was tipped at the line with, I think, like 2:04 to go or something like that, and was picked off by linebacker John Bostic. No James Conner, and the run game was non-existent for them. James Washington had 2 catches for 80 yards, one of them a nice long touchdown. Deontay Johnson went 8 for 71 and touchdown. I think he had 2 drops himself. Eric Ebron was 7 for 68. One of our listeners jokingly sent me a text that said Eric Ebron was going for the double-double of football, 10 catches and 10 drops in the same game. I thought that was kind of funny. Chase Claypool went 2 for 38, and Juju had 7 catches, only 28 yards. That's tough to do, but Juju did it.
Yeah, man, this was a surprising game. Like you said, I mean, I didn't think I definitely didn't have the Washington football team winning this one, but like you said, the Steelers undefeated. And to me, they just beat up on these bad teams, and they ran into, I guess, Washington played a good defensive game, and they found a way to win. Alex Smith just dink and dunks his way down the field, and he does his thing, even with his I don't know, man. This guy just can't catch a break. At one point, they zoomed in on his other leg, and it's bleeding all over the place down his cleat and everything. And I don't know, man. God just can't catch a break. But I mean, good for him, man, to come back from what he's endured. I mean, throughout his last couple of years, it's crazy that he's out there winning football games against undefeated Steelers teams. You know what I mean? That's just a great story on its own. But man, I don't know. Like I talked about earlier, I mean, when I saw the Giants beating the Seahawks, I thought, man, you know, they're definitely going to win the division now. With that win, I mean, they just separated themselves, and then the Steelers or the Washington just kind of keeps pace with them, I guess, as well, in that big
hold my drink
in that NFC East race over there. But I don't know. Maybe this is a good thing for the Steelers just to kind of get this one out of the way. Then now you don't have to hear about them going undefeated and everything.
That's true.
You know,
I mean, they probably have a little bit of an argument to that statement, but
I'm sure they do. But you know, maybe it takes a little bit of the edge off.
I'm sure it does.
It's tough to to go out there and just try to hear that all week and answer those questions all week about can he go undefeated, and run the table, this and that. Now that all that's off the table for them, so maybe they'll just kind of we'll see if they can turn the page on this one. And man, like you said, that game at the end, I was watching this game and I said, well, this is going to set up perfect for Pittsburgh. I mean, I think that at that point, they had the 2-minute warning and a timeout, 1 or 2 timeouts with the 2-minute warning after Washington scored. And I was like, man, they're going to pull this game out by 1 point. And literally the first play, I think it was that tip pass with the interception. And I was talking to my wife. She was sitting there, and I was like, oh, man, Pittsburgh's going to – Big Ben will find a way to come back and win this game. I was like, the only way is going to be like a fluke pass, a fluke penalty or tip pass or something like that. And literally the first play was straight up in the air, and Bostic dives and catches it. And man, Antonio Gibson just hurts my feelings because I had him on a few of my teams, and he got me the old 1 point. Needed him to have I didn't even need him to have a big week. I just needed him to have an okay week, a 9 or 10 point week, and I would have won a couple of more games. And we'll see what happens. I guess he hurt his toe, so we'll see how that heals, I guess, moving forward. Because I don't know, man, tough for me and old Antonio Gibson.
You're breaking my heart, Brian. You're breaking my heart. The last game we have, the Bills took down the 49ers 34-24. Josh Allen, 32 of 40, 375 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He is like, I don't know, the Amari Cooper, the Marvin Jones, the Mike Williams of quarterbacks. Yeah. Where, I mean, some days he goes out and he looks like he's trying to not throw to his receivers. And then, like last night, there are times when he makes incredible throw after throw after throw. I mean, he was dropping dimes from the pocket on the run. It was a pleasure to watch Josh Allen play last night. And, I mean, he's come a long way, I'll tell you that. Zach Moss fumbled early in the game, and I don't think he saw the field after that. Devin Singletary, 18 carries, 61 yards, 3 for 22 in the receiving game. Cole Beasley set a career high, 130 yards on 9 catches and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs had 10 catches and 92 yards. He's over 1,000 receiving yards on the year. The other 3 touchdowns went to Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, and Dawson Knox. The 49ers, Nick Mullins, 316-yard passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. The dude can play, but he turns the ball over too much. And I saw a graphic, I'm assuming you probably saw it too, that said Nick Mullins has the 3rd most passing yards in his first 13 games in NFL history.
I saw that, yeah. I saw it was at Mahomes, him, and then it was I forget who the second guy was, but
it might come to me, but that is baffling to me. Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert split running back duties, with Wilson getting 7 for 49 and Mostert 9 carries for 42. Brandon Ayuk, 5 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Debo, 6 catches for 73 yards. Jordan Reed, you can start him if you need a tight end. 3 catches, 32 yards, a touchdown. And I believe Kyle Juszczyk got a score. And he has the hardest last name to spell in the history of sports.
Yeah, I think he's got quite a few those weird letters in his name. It's hard to spell, but
a lot of Z's.
Yeah, Z's, S. I don't even know. C. But, man, like you said, Josh Allen, I mean, look, this is how he was playing in the beginning of the year, and then he kind of just, like you said, just he shows up like this some weeks, and then some weeks he does, he plays like a Carson Wentz or, somebody like that. But I don't know, man. The Bills, this is a good win for them to travel back to Arizona, where they just had the old Hail Mary a couple weeks ago. So you had to go back to that field, and then you get a win. So that's good for them. But
Andrew Luck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, that's right, yeah. Mahomes, Andrew Luck, and then Nick Mullins. And then they were kind of – and the announcers were kind of making fun of it. They were like, something about, I'm sure the Mullins family didn't expect to see a graphic where – where Nick was up there with Patrick Mahomes or being compared to Patrick Mahomes or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of a weird stat. And this dude had 57 yards passing at halftime, and then he ended up with 316. So, he did his thing. I guess it was that. So he ended up with like 260 in the second half. So, they tried to come back, but the Bills were just a little bit too much for them. And like 49ers, one of them teams, man, they've been crushed by injuries, and they're still hanging tough, man. They have a good coach. I mean, Shanahan's he's a good coach, man. And I think Ayuk, I mean, that kid's he's a lot better than what I thought he was going to be in the NFL. I didn't really watch a whole lot of him over there at Arizona State. Those games are always on at like 11 o'clock at night. So didn't see a whole lot of him in college. But, I mean, look, the kid's a stud. And, Debo Samuel, starting to pick things up. I know he missed some time this year. But, that's a good combo. If they could ever just find a steady quarterback, or Garoppolo doesn't get hurt. I don't know, man. It's just a tough deal, but they'll get it figured out. And again, the Bills. I mean, I think heading into the playoffs, man, the Bills are a tough team. I wouldn't want to be playing them, especially if you have to go to Buffalo in January. I mean, it's going to be, just that brings that other element into the game. With that outdoor stadium. I mean, playing a game in mid-January in Buffalo against a team. That they're pretty solid defense, and that offensive Josh Allen plays like this, it's going to be tough to beat. I mean, I guess they're a team to watch heading into the playoffs for me.
Yep. All right, man. That's all I got. You got anything to add?
No. I guess one more point about it, the 49ers game. I thought Zach Moss, man, I'm kind of down on him. I know he fumbled once, and then he fumbled twice. The one got reversed, and then it kind of looked like Singletary just kind of took over from there. You know what I'm saying? So they might be losing some faith in Zach Moss. I thought he was going to be I thought he was going to be the guy there, but we'll see. I don't know, but I know he's in the doghouse, I think, with McDermott with the fumbling situation. So
makes sense. Though.
We'll see what that moves forward. Yeah, it can't be having that come playoff time. So that's all I have for that one. Forgot to throw that one out there real quick, but
yeah. Well, before we head out of here again. Check out www.thediaperdust.com on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Save your nose, save your friend's nose, whatever you got to do. Don't let smelly diapers ruin your day. Get yourself some diaper dust. Get your loved one some diaper dust. Thediaperdust.com.
Yep, check that out. And then we'll post our video here on Facebook come Wednesday sometime. And you can also check us out on any social platform. We got YouTube, we have Pandora, we have Spotify, we have Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast. I don't know, whatever kind of phone or whatever kind of platform that you use, we're available. So check us out. Give us a follow, like we always say. I mean, it always helps to build up our brand and to build the following. So, I check every week off our we run everything through Podbean, which is our kind of where we upload our audio, which kind of then shoots it out to all the other platforms that we have besides YouTube and Facebook. But they have statistics, and I think as of last time I looked, I think as of last week, I think we're into like 20-something different states now. So I don't know people are out there listening. I mean, obviously you got North Carolina, where we're from. You know, you have your Virginia. We have the Maryland, the New Jersey, the Pennsylvanias, and then I think we've actually moved up into like Maine and Vermont. So I don't know who was up there listening, but that's good. And I think we had a listen in Alaska, so maybe we're big time over there.
Yes.
I know we are international. I know we have talked about that before because I have a friend of mine from high school, Lindsay. She lives overseas as a teacher.
Okay.
And I think her husband is a avid listener, and he downloads some stuff over there. And I think they live over there in England or somewhere over there. So yeah, they're listening. And we've moved into I think we had our first. We're breaking into the Midwest. I think we got like a Nebraska and an Iowa listen. So I don't know how these people are stumbling across it, but hey, good for us, man. So
love it.
We'll try to get across all 50 states by the time this thing's over. Hopefully we can get a listen in all the continental USA.
You got it, buddy. All right, man. Hey, good week.
All right, good week. I know we got one more game here going on right now. Looks like Baltimore's kind of putting it to Dallas. Yeah. So I guess the old Ravens will get back on the win column, it looks like. So other than that, I will see you next week.
Sounds good. Take it easy, buddy.
All right, man.
Hey, thanks, everybody. See y'all later.
Yep, thank you.